Hello and welcome. Hello and welcome to the Truth Movement. My name is Ryan Prescott, and I am the founder and owner of this movement. Today, we're going to go over how to resolve conflicts. Now, a lot of things you probably don't really fully know about how conflicts happen, who starts them, various different ways, of your understanding how conflicts are and how arguments start. Let's go ahead and just dive right into it, right? So I'm going to go ahead and read a section in what's called the Scientology Handbook. And it's called How to Resolve Conflicts, right? Now, this right here, we're going to go over the third party law. But before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and read this section here, this little summation, to give you some more information. Wrap your head around it, right? So it seems that people often have trouble getting along together. Families argue, neighbors come to blows, countries lob weapons at each other. Is this the way it has to be? In truth, man is rather peaceful, but he can be driven individually and collectively to hatred and violence. In researching the causes of violence, L. Ron Hubbard unearthed a fundamental and natural law of human relations, which explains why conflicts between people are so often difficult to remedy. And he provided an immensely valuable tool that enables one to resolve any conflict, be it between neighbors, coworkers, or even countries. In this chapter, you will discover how to help others resolve their differences and restore peaceable relations. Peace and harmony between men can be more than just a dream. Widespread application of this law will make it a reality. Now, before I go ahead and dive fully into this, I want to let you know that you can actually get this booklet for $5. It's very, very affordable and very, very powerful. And if you're interested in that, you're interested in learning more about how to resolve conflicts. I mean, of course, everybody would, right? But also, if you're just interested in getting this material in your hands, it's only $5. So I want you to put interested in the comment section, and I'd love to give you this material for only $5, right? Because we just, it's not free to print the material. Okay, and also to ship it out. So yeah, go ahead and comment interested, or if you want more information, you want some, one-on-one like consulting, try to figure out, more and more of how to apply this data, put info in the comments. Other than that, so violence and conflict amongst individuals and nations have been with us for ages, and their causes have remained a complete mystery, and mystery finally solved in Scientology. Right? So then such a thing would have to be some natural law, unguessed at by himself. And there is such a law, apparently, that answers these conditions of being deadly, unknown, and embracing all activities. In the past, people have had, countries have had altercations. Right now, you can tell, I mean, let's have an example. North Korea doesn't like the United States, right? The United States, frankly, I mean, it's not like we don't like it, it's the governments, right? Whoever's in the governments of these two countries don't like each other, right? It's not like the people doesn't like the other person. It's because the government's telling them that, as referenced in here. So let's go on. So it says the law would seem to be, so this is what Mr. Hubbard noted down when he was going through this, and he was looking at how conflicts actually come about. And he really went into, how do they get resolved? How do they get solved? Whatever. There has to be a hidden source behind something. So it says this: a third party must be present and unknown in every quarrel for a conflict to exist. So there has to be somebody, not just the two people. I'm talking somebody else on the outside. You could be saying, to Bob something about his wife, like, oh yeah, hey, by the way, your wife's cheating on you. She's been talking to other people. She hasn't. That's not true, right? But he's telling her, he's like, hey, look, he's telling him about his wife cheating on him, and then going over to his wife and saying some lies about him. See? So then all of a sudden it only looks like two people are fighting. But in actual fact, this person started it. This quarrel existed because of this person. See, without that data, you were trying to handle it by yourself. And you couldn't. They don't resolve that way. If you're trying to resolve a conflict by trying to get it going between two people and trying to sit them down, that's not going to work because you don't know who's actually started it, because it didn't just happen randomly, right? And there's another way of putting that law, and it's this: for a quarrel to occur, an unknown third party must be active in producing it between two potential opponents. That's another way of saying it. It gives you another viewpoint, gives you another way of looking at it. And here's another one. While it is commonly believed to take two to make a fight, a third party must exist and must develop it for actual conflict to occur. Interesting, right? So we just looked at three different viewpoints. Okay, conflicts, they don't just start randomly. They just don't. They have to have a source. And, you're fighting with people, and, if you get in an argument with somebody and you've been working with this person at your job and everything seemed to be all right before that, and then all of a sudden it turned like disastrous, and you're like, whoa, what happened? That's what happened. Somebody wanted that to occur. It's hard to grasp that people are like this in society. I had to grasp it, but that's what it is. So let's continue, right? It is very easy to see that two in conflict are fighting. They are very visible. What is harder to see or suspect is that a third party existed and actively promoted the quarrel. The usually unsuspected and reasonable third party, the bystander who denies any part of it, is the one that brought the conflict into existence in the first place. Interesting, huh? I want to read that one more time. You have to get this. It's so vital. The usually unsuspected and reasonable third party, the bystander who denies any part of it, is the one that brought the conflict into existence in the first place. So the friend that you have at work that's like, I didn't do anything. I just saw you guys fighting over there or whatever. That person is the person. Just look back on what you got from the person, right? So look, watch this. The hidden third party, seeming at times to be a supporter of only one side, is to be found as the instigator. This is a useful law in many areas of life. It is the cause of war. One sees two fellows shouting bad names at each other, sees them come to blows. No one else is around, so they, of course, caused the fight. But there was a third party. Tracing these down, one comes upon incredible data. That is the trouble. The incredible is too easily rejected. One way to hide things is to make them incredible. Okay, so, it's so useful to have this information. So useful. Now that you have it, I want you to look at all of the conflicts, right? Just pick one out of all of the conflicts. Pick one, either you and your coworker going at each other's throats, and then find out who you spoke to and who's been telling you some awful things about that other person. And hey, if you're still friends or somehow connected with that other person and you kind of want to talk to that person and they're kind of cool, I would reach out and figure out, hey, did you hear from blah, blah, blah about me? And then kind of nail it down, because that's what you do here, right? So here, let me go ahead and just read a little further into this, right? So it says, okay, so one looks over personal quarrels, group conflicts, national battles, and one finds, if he searches the third party, unsuspected by both combatants, or if it's suspected at all, brushed off as fantastic, yet careful documentation finally affirms it. This datum is fabulously useful. In marital quarrels, the correct approach of anyone counseling is to get both parties to carefully search out the third party. They may come to many reasons at first. These reasons are not beings, people. One is looking for a third party, an actual being. When both find the third party and establish proof, that will be the end of the quarrel. Sometimes two parties quarreling suddenly decide to elect a being to blame. This stops the quarrel. Sometimes it is not the right being, and more quarrels thereafter occur. Two nations at each other's throats should seek conference with the other to sift out and locate the actual third party, the actual third person, right? They will always find one if they look, and they can find the right one, as it will be found to exist in fact. So there you go. I want you to read the rest, and I want you to, find out how to apply it, right, for yourself. But right there, you have data. You can use that data. It's so cool. I mean, it's so simple. And there's so much more information here. So much. It's like it goes into, he did even further discoveries. He went into just, how to find it completely. Like, hey, ask these questions. Find the person. Like, it's a total cool technique. And, various different things. Such a remedy for previously unresolvable conflicts never existed before Scientology. It is the solution to a host of ills that have worried men for ages. Nobody wants to get into conflict. I don't want to get into conflict. You don't want to get into conflict. Nobody wants to get in arguments. That's silly. We have a life to live. We don't need to get into these things. So that's why it's so important that you get this for yourself, refer to it every day. Or every time you have a, argument, you just go, whoa, look, hey, I have something in my hands I would like you to read. Okay, and I would like us to try to use so that we can kind of resolve this, even if we don't want to be friends anymore or work together. As long as we handle this, we might actually come to an agreement. Let's try it. I'd like you to look at that. So other than that, like I previously said, I'm so excited for you to use this information. That's why I sometimes go, oh my gosh. I'd like you to really consider just $5. And you get a booklet, and it's on this, and you get all this information and more that I just, I grazed over it. And I didn't even read you all of it. I wanted you to get a gist of it and a kind of an understanding for yourself on it. And I want you to comment interested below or info below and let me know, hey, I'd like it. I'd like to learn more. And I can totally send it to you. So, and also if you'd like to have some help on handling, quarrels, conflicts, arguments, or whatever, reach out to me. Comment below. Say, hey, look, I have info, or I want info, or I'm interested, right? And we can start a conversation and get you some help. Thank you so much. I super appreciate your time. My name is Ryan Prescott, founder and owner of the Truth Movement. Have a nice one.